God,
grant me the serenity
to accept the things I cannot change,
the courage to change the things I can,
and the wisdom to know the difference.
In this episode of Overcoming Addiction, we will discuss the challenges and resources available to those who are in addiction recovery during the COVID-19 crisis. Tonight's guests are recovery coaches Richie Evans and Keriann Caccavaro. Together we can make a difference. Here's your host, Paul Hammersley.
Hi, I'm Paul Hammersley. Welcome to another episode of Overcoming Addiction. And tonight we are going to be talking about the COVID-19 pandemic, the challenges that people are facing in recovery. I have two people with me here tonight that are professional people in the field who are on the front lines every day. And I want to welcome Richie Evans and Keriann Caccavaro.
thank you, sir.
thank you.
We're going to be discussing and just taking a look at, the social isolation, the distancing, what folks are going through right now. The numbers aren't in our favor. They're going the wrong way. There's a lot of people that don't have access to recovery services and meetings, but the resources are out there and folks may not know that those resources are available. So tonight we're gonna let folks know exactly that we're still working, we're still out there. The resources are available, treatment is available, and where folks can go and get the help that they need. So we're going to just be taking a look and talking about just everything going on. And the first question, I just want to go right into, because there's so much to talk about, and what can people in recovery do during the COVID-19 quarantine just to stay connected? Because we know that human contact in recovery is very important. Mm-hmm. So what can people do right now at this time?
I would have to say, there's a lot of, although like our schedules and our routine might have switched up, due to technology, there's a lot of available meetings, so online Zoom meetings, Skype meetings, and that's not even just for substance use, it's for all people. It's a way to connect and feel like you're not isolating and falling into a rut of depression, being, quarantined in your house. So, and there's just a lot of online activity, but also staying mindful of, like behavioral scenarios. So like forcing yourself out of bed, forcing yourself to stay active during a time that is unfamiliar.
Absolutely.
So you talked about Zoom meetings. Just in case anybody doesn't know what a Zoom meeting is, what is a Zoom meeting? Basically, I'll explain and we could talk about it, but Zoom meetings, everything now is online. So if you are someone that's looking for a meeting, you can't get to one right now where there's actual people. You have to either go on your phone, on the computer, and get some resources, and you'll get a link or something you click onto. Somebody will give that to you. And I just want to throw it out there, MaldenOvercomingAddiction.com, our website, in the resources section, you can connect to every meeting out there that's virtually going on. Everything from Alcoholics Anonymous to Narcotics Anonymous to Gamblers Anonymous to there's help for families, there's transportation help. So I can't say it enough. Everything is on Malden Overcoming Addiction, our website. So I just wanted to reiterate on the Zoom, just in case people don't know what that is.
So a Zoom meeting is just like a virtual online meeting, and so you almost get like an invite, and they're actually updated daily. So Alcoholics Anonymous will actually, on a daily basis, update Massachusetts Zoom meetings, their times, the ID number to sign into it. And what you do is, you download the Zoom app, and you type in the title of the meeting, and it will send you an invite. And from there, from the invite, you end up putting an ID number. And from that ID number, you get a virtual picture of all the people that are attending that meeting.
So you're looking at folks.
You're looking at folks. But you also have the option, if you don't want to be seen, you also have the option to not be seen and only hear the audio of the actual meeting, which I really respect that, because a lot of us don't, maybe for whatever reason, don't want to have the
change,
videos.
and it's difficult to make the change.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
And they also have like Smart Recovery, Al-Anon, Alateen, and they're updated on a daily basis.
So, Richie, I know that you do a lot of work with treatment, and a lot of people are asking me, are treatment facilities open? What's going on? Is there still help available? So I'd like you to talk a little bit about that. I just want people to know that everything is still open.
Yeah, well, there are places that are open. Not everybody's doing intakes though, but there definitely are resources out there. Some places are overwhelmed, and they're not doing admissions only because beds are filled. These are really tough times where it's like the universe almost said, like, go to your room, everyone's on a timeout, and then also giving us permission to really love and support each other. So I want to say, like, I would never take anything away from first responders, but people that work in the field are also showing up. I know you yourself, your father passed away, and we were still taking phone calls, helping people. My good friend Mac Annam's been giving out scholarships because Banyan isn't funded by the state.
So when you say Banyan, you mean Banyan Treatment Center, so that's
Yes.
still up and running.
It's still up
just
and
so
running.
people understand.
It's still up and running, yes.
Awesome.
And there are, like you said, are resources out there. I would trust in someone like us to help someone navigate the system, because it can be hard right now, only because the limited availability. But there are places out there, there are resources, and we can definitely find them.
So let's talk a little bit about people, the isolation piece. So with the social distancing, and obviously we're doing that here tonight. We're 6 feet apart. We have everything we need here. We have hand sanitizer. But it's so important for social distancing just for us to do our part. But again, that leads folks in recovery. There's a lot of isolation going on, and people are relapsing. The rates are going up. There's data out there to support that. So I'd like to talk about how can we support our loved ones, our friends in recovery. What should we be doing? Like, I want both of you just all the signs, like calling people, like reaching out to our friends, like, please, like, let's
If I
talk
could,
about it.
because I just want to acknowledge something that Kerry said, which was actually amazing, is like disciplining yourself to get up, having a schedule. Me, myself, I have disciplined myself to call at least 3 people for my own recovery and check in on them. Zoom meetings, obviously, checking on loved ones. But we're in interesting times as far as that goes, only because of the fact that even though people are supporting one another, there are people that are passing away and being born, and loved ones can't even be in the room right now. So it's like I really am mindful of when people are saying, hey, I have a loved one that's sick, or someone in my family, we're going to have a new family member, to reach out and support them.
I would also agree with that. I find myself personally, I'm like an introvert by nature, so I like to kind of, isolate and stay home, and I have to, maintain my schedule. So the same schedule that I had before, the quarantine and COVID-19 pandemic happened, I'm trying to maintain, because I know myself. So it's also just being mindful and aware of your own past habits. But then on the flip side of that, it's like for us who may have some time in recovery and with our own process, at this time especially, it's like taking up the responsibility of you checking in with people, not expecting people to check in with you when they're struggling. Because sometimes, especially during isolation, especially when the whole entire world is kind of isolating, it's much easier to kind of get lost in the midst of all of this. So it's our responsibility. If somebody pops into our head, hey, so-and-so, how are you doing today? Just throw them a text message and just continue that communication, because through all of this loss of like personal connection, we're losing the people that are the most quiet and who kind of already struggled speaking out when we were able to speak in meetings. So it's our responsibility to reach out to them also.
And I also feel bad for like, in my home group, I attend meetings regularly as well, but so there's people before this pandemic hit, you might have had a newcomer that was 5 days, a week, he still hasn't talked to people. Would you just getting to know him, saying hello to him? I might not have had his number. Where is he?
Right.
Where is she?
Right.
Like, these are things that, it's breaking my heart, because there's people that are missing that we can't even contact or get a hold of. So it's very important for us, people that have been around, to just continue to check on our friends and loved ones. And I can't stress enough. So eating right, exercising, like getting enough sleep. This is the things we all have to be doing. And I'd like to switch gears a little bit and talk about people that live with people in recovery that are not in recovery. The best thing for them to do, let's talk about that. Let's talk about a family member or a loved one who's living with someone that may may need assistance. So, you know, what I'm reading and the research is coming up, like making sure that the person is just supporting the person in recovery, asking them, have you been to a Zoom meeting? Are you plugging in? Are you talking to people? Are you doing your step work? Because all these things can still be done online. And then what are the signs that family members should be looking out for? Maybe someone's isolating too much alone. Maybe they're sleeping too much. Maybe they're not eating right. So those are all signs of what? Potential relapse. Potentially, those are signs leading to a bad situation where that person may need some assistance, and that leads into recovery coaching and having resources available for the family member. Again, Malden Overcoming Addiction has shared a lot of resources on their page for everyone to dig into, to dive in, just to have resources to give to their loved one.
Right.
So,
Also, like, I know just like telehealth, like in setting up therapy, setting up some sort of support, even if it's virtual.
what's telehealth you mentioned?
It's virtual therapy, virtual mental health or behavioral health support. So instead of going to your local therapist or going to your psychiatrist or psychologist and meeting them in their office, they have set up telehealth, and so it's similar to Zoom.
So that could be like on your phone.
On your phone.
You could talk
through
to your
computer.
therapist
Yep.
on your, okay.
Yep, and a lot of them have 24-hour online call numbers, which I'm pretty sure on Malden Overcoming's website they listed more's. And if you press more will also list any hotlines that are available, telehealth for mental health or behavioral health or substance abuse, and that are 24-hour call centers to help family members or persons struggling in the moment. I also want to say for family members, and what I've also have seen is that a lot of family members are almost taking up this role of the teacher, or trying to be of almost not I don't want to say overbearing, but like almost too rigid, where a lot of us almost resist that. So this is a time that none of us know how to handle it.
That's right.
And so as the person or the parent is trying to do their best, so is the person struggling. And so if the person struggling is reluctant to get up every single day, call their sponsor, call their step work, especially in the first few years of recovery, of early recovery, it's really hard to maintain that consistent schedule. So having all of that removed, everybody kind of needs to be more compassionate and empathetic. And if you can't get through to your loved one, you take the initiative. You go onto the Zoom meeting, a family support meeting, show your loved one that you're willing to do it, and then maybe your loved one will follow suit.
That's fantastic advice right there. So in other words, like leading by example.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
just showing someone that you too want to be part of, and that's just showing support.
Right.
Because let's face it, all of us at home, I don't know about you two, but I'm at home as well, just like everybody else, and it's hard.
Yes.
Your family's at home, we're all in the house, I don't like the word trapped, but we're all in.
Right.
And you know, things can get monotonous at home.
Yeah.
Things can get difficult. Isolation's hard for everybody, but we want to just make sure that people know that they have the supports that they need. And so what about besides Zoom meetings? What are other things, like activities available at home for someone with a history of substance use? Like, what are some things people could be doing?
So the Phoenix Recovery Center, which is also listed on Malden Overcoming's website.
Yep.
If you go and you click on the link, Phoenix Recovery has a workout, and so they're giving away free workout. Also, Boston Herald, or I want to say BostonHerald.com, has listed all free gyms in the state of Massachusetts that are giving away daily workout routines and workout classes virtually that you can log into through YouTube, on your TV, maybe not just through your phone.
I'm sure there's yoga as well.
And a lot of them actually, even through social media, through Facebook, I think it's called mindfulness.org. They have a list of all of the daily yoga, daily meditations, guided meditations, and then it's just like tapping into your own creativity. So it's like we sometimes have to kind of log off and kind of turn off the TV sometimes because it can be overstimulating. So like learning ways to be more creative, go for walks. Be mindful of social distancing, but like we need nature, we need fresh air. And in order to stay healthy and have our immune system be healthy, we need natural air. So logging off and going outside, taking a daily walk, whatever, creating, building something, creative projects, even just what a lot of people are doing is putting signs outside of their house thanking the first responders or thinking of the next person, because that's what we do best, is we do best helping the next person. So creative ways on to help those that are going out every day and trying to help our community.
So like for instance tonight at 7 p.m. we're live right now, but tonight at 7 o'clock everyone is to go outside of their home for 5 minutes, get as loud as you can to show your support for all first responders.
I love that.
Every first responder out there tonight is going to hear from all of us. Just play your music, scream, clap, whatever it is. So that's amazing. And Richie, I want to go into, we were talking yesterday, and we were talking about reaching out to people, and people that might not even be comfortable with Zoom, hopefully they can get there, but it's also our responsibility just to check in via iPhone with FaceTime. Right?
Absolutely. I think we're in, like, once again, we're in very strange times, and we'll never be the same again after this. And what we're seeing is just like you said, is people really answering the call, and it's also like, even though the universe has put us on a timeout, it's also given us permission to love each other and support each other. So I think that's super important. Even as we were talking about it, I think it's not the time to be selfish. It's the time to give.
That's right.
You know, give whatever you can. And as simple as a text message, like I really liked what Kerry said. FaceTiming, I do that a lot. I FaceTime. I'm skipping most of it because you said this, and I also like this. It really lit my soul on fire. Was what we're gonna crave after this is that human connection, or you said the addict. Helping another addict connection. You said that, I think, on a TV show that you were on, and I thought that was amazing. It's like we really do crave that. We can't do that right now, so the very next best thing is FaceTiming, Skyping. You know, we all check in on one another anyways, just as our culture, right? But now the world is actually doing that, and I think, you know, as crazy at times we're in, we're really seeing, like, for instance, what Carrie said is, you know, food industries sending 30 to 50 pizzas to the medical field, and it's like, you know, an addiction field, I wish we'd get some pizza. We haven't gotten many pizzas, but I do love to see that.
Absolutely.
You know, we're like the underdogs right now. Nobody's really mentioning us, so I'm like mentioning us.
And speaking of mentioning us, we're all certified addiction recovery coaches. So I do want to touch on that we're still working.
That's right.
You know, in special circumstances, there might be a case with social distancing, you know, obviously, we might be going out seeing people, you know, whoever that person may be, but obviously practicing best practices. But a lot of everything is by phone. I just want people to know, we're all three of us, we're doing a boatload of phone work, and let's talk about that. Like, that has picked up, and I noticed, like, Verizon just gave me, I'm giving Verizon a plug now, but they just sent all kinds of gigs my way on my phone because everyone is needing more phone time. Like you said, the times are changing. What do we do? Like, we have to adapt instead of like, and we could go the other way with this. People could just like totally isolate and not do anything. You nailed it. We have to step up and help people. It's people helping people. And as recovery coaches, I want folks to know that we're on the phone right now. I mean, I know that you're working on the phone. I know you're working on the phone. Tell me what that's been like. Has it picked up?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's probably ×3 picked up.
Right.
And even the communication time is much longer throughout the day, and just navigating, like, oh, I'm losing work, I don't know what to do, my sober house, I can't pay for sober living, and just helping the person in the early phases of their process kind of just sit through these uncomfortable changes, and feeling like completely out of control, and just like teaching them how to just stay in the moment. It's gonna work out. There is solutions to this, and encouraging them to continue to call. And then just, you know, if you're not hearing from somebody, I've had to do a lot of checkups on the ones that normally call me a lot, and then all of a sudden I haven't heard from them. So it's, again, being mindful of their process and seeing the change in their behavior. And once I recognize it, it's my responsibility to address it.
Right.
Can I say something too? Check in on us too.
Yeah.
Like, guys, we can.
100%.
We're on the
Absolutely.
front lines too, but we need. I need Paul. Paul always checks in on me. I know you do too. Like, but outside of that, it's like always good when somebody that maybe that's not that doesn't usually check in with us to check in with us. You know, I was on the phone with somebody today. I thought this was so amazing. 3-way on the phone call, and this young man was just crying. And me, the mother and the father, just let him cry and like supported him and just said, it's okay, like it's okay to cry. And I thought when I thought about that for a minute, is he was actually, so I don't want to, violate any HIPAA, so I'm going to try to tiptoe do this. He was the type of person, because I've known him for a while, to always say, Richie, how are you doing? Go out of the way. And that meant the world to me, just to thank you. Thank you for your help. And I'll tell you after this who it was. But he needed some help, and he was just crying, and he probably cried for about 20 minutes. We let him cry. And I thought that was so awesome that he trusted us enough to let his feelings and be vulnerable, with us. And he was that type of person that would call, check in, come by my office. Richie, how are you doing? Just thinking of you. So it's important to us too. Like, I haven't forgot that to this day, how he was.
Right.
I actually just from one of MOA's speakers, she was actually one of the first people that sent me a text. Hi, I just want to let you know that I'm thinking of you. I just want to see if you're doing okay. And I was blown away because we're usually the ones calling and checking on everybody else.
Right.
So it actually had me very emotional that somebody was actually checking to see if I'm okay. And I'm like, I
Doesn't that
value.
mean a lot?
Yes, I'm like, I saved the text. I'm like, you just changed my whole entire week. Thank you. I appreciate that because everybody needs a checkup. Everybody.
That's right. And you said something I got it written down here, something I want to talk about. We have a few minutes left. We have about 5 or 6 minutes. And I want to go into where we think what people need the most. What are we hearing? And I took last week 8 or 10 calls in the past 4 days on the same topic, and it's sober houses. So what's happening now is people can't pay their rent. All right, and this is going on across the board. I know that owners of sober houses know what I'm talking about, and people that live in them know what we're talking about. I don't have the answers, but I want to put this out there on television. I want to put this out there for resources. Whoever can help, we have to do something at the state level. I have no idea at what level, but people aren't being able to work, and now they can't pay their rent. And a lot of people are called in Malden Overcoming Addiction looking for scholarships, and our scholarships are grant funded, and the grants are very specific how we can spend the money, so we don't have funds because we didn't foresee the COVID-19 coming, but I'm seeing a huge issue with people not being able to pay their rent. So I just wanted to talk about that. I wanted to put it out there, and we got to try to figure out a way maybe to get some resources or reach out or tap into something where there's going to be resources for this specific reason, because it's a real problem.
Absolutely. Can I say something? You had a great idea, so I don't want to say this and pretend like I owned it, but when me and you were discussing scholarships in this specific situation, what you said is using our most natural resource, which is social media, as far as crowdsourcing. So if you have 600 friends, and some people have more than that, close to 1,000, 500, 600, and your idea was a great idea, is put up a GoFundMe and let people know. Don't just get online and Google things, like let your community know.
It has to start somewhere.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to support and help, but that was your idea, and I just wanted to bring that up.
I'm also going to say, which might be a little bit controversial, but we need to have like DMH, DPH also allow this community, which they are high risk already, to either support their process and either fund it or fall into the same category where the rent or mortgage support in that area. So then the owners of the sober houses don't have to face any penalties, but then the person living in the sober house doesn't have to then have fears of relapse, homelessness, COVID-19, all
And to
this.
that point, to the owner of the sober house and not, this is such a hard topic to talk
Right.
about because everyone's affected. It's a trickle down.
Yep.
But how do you throw someone on the street during this time? And all this means is COVID-19 equals people not being able to work equals people dying, because that's the next step.
Right.
If you lose your sober living
Right.
and you have nowhere to go, you're back on the street,
Right.
and this equals more people dying. This is just, it's crucial that we try to do something, and I'm very glad we just talked about that, because across the board, sober houses are needing help.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the
Absolutely.
people in it. And then the last thing I just want to touch on, so homeless. You know, there's a lot being done right now with the homeless. There's a lot of links out there. There's a lot of things that are being built. There's tents in Boston that are being created. So there are places to go. But you know what I was thinking the other day? So just as something as simple, right here in our city, we had some churches that were doing meals, and people would live by that. Certain nights of the week, they could go down to the church and get a meal. But the other thing that I didn't realize, I was talking to someone who is homeless, and he said to me, you know, Paul, I get my food, and I'll still go for a meal, but like when they get food from Bread of Life or wherever they're choosing to get their food, sometimes they have canned goods. They don't carry can openers, and in these facilities, they would open their cans, and something as simple as now, like they need other things because the churches have shut down. So this is affecting everything across the board. It's just...
Well, especially with all the I'm going to say myself, I've probably cleaned my roof, I've cleaned everything 300 times. And so this is actually a really good time to collect all of the things in your household that you're not really going to use, or that has kind of gone to the back of the drawer, and see, can you make any care packages? Because this also will not get any better if we forget about our homeless population.
And right, and I see a lot of folks, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things, I see it in Malden, there's some very good resources and people are gearing towards it. I'm just bringing it up to make more, I want more awareness out there. I'm hoping that just people are staying mindful of the sober houses with people not being able to pay rent, the homeless population, people in recovery. That's what the show is about. We want to bring awareness, and how do we get better at serving the people we need to serve, because I don't see this changing anytime real soon.
Right. And if anybody, and I'm going to speak for us three, if anybody is suffering out there that it doesn't have the basic necessities that they need, and you have a way of getting to MaldenOvercoming.com, please message us, because we will do whatever we can to support you. We will connect you to whoever can support you, and that you're not alone during this time.
I just want to tell everybody to please, if you need assistance, we're here. If you need recovery coaching, we're here. The phone number is 781-838-2203. Our Facebook page is Malden Overcoming Addiction on Facebook. Just please reach out to the website, check our resources, and until the next time, thank you for tuning in.